Today, I'll be explaining to you why, based on Fidelity's research, that you may retire with a lower retirement balance than you think. Over my years of analyzing retirement accounts, I've watched these same issues quietly erode savings, even for those who think that they're saving adequately. And that's exactly why I'm making this video today, to expose what's really causing retirement accounts to underperform and how you can protect your savings from this happening. So let's get right into it. The Fidelity research that I'm referring to is a retirement analysis from the end of 2023, and it pointed out that there's a potential problem on the horizon, and that is that they noticed that many individuals have increasingly been tapping their retirement savings through in-service withdrawals, hardship withdrawals, or loans. In fact, the amount of loans on 401ks has risen to 17.6% of workers. 401k loans might be better than just taking the money out, paying the taxes and penalties on it, and not putting it back, and they can be that next best solution, but you have to be aware of some of the downsides too. For instance, you pay back the loan with interest, and that interest goes into your account, but you're paying it back with after-tax dollars. So it's a form of getting double taxed on that money because you'll pay the tax to get the money to pay it off, plus you'll be taxed on the future when money comes back out. And I know a lot of people think that paying themselves 4 or 5% in interest is sort of a guaranteed return for their account, but it's probably not better than if you had just kept it invested. But aside from the math problems, by making these early retirement account withdrawals, we're creating bad habits before we ever enter into retirement. Remember, someday withdrawing from your 401k is the goal. And at that time, you'll have a withdrawal strategy when you do that. But if you think about it, we should be worried that maybe these patterns carry over into retirement, and some of these people are going to have a lot less ability to achieve that successful, steady monthly income when they're no longer working. I think people have some misconceptions driving their decisions to take money out of their 401k before they retire. They think taking money from their retirement accounts is a low impact decision, that it's just a grain of salt in the big picture. The short-term withdrawals won't affect the long-term retirement success too much. And we tell ourselves that we can make up for the withdrawals with future contributions. And I get it. If you need to take it, you need to take it. Just know that it is costing you something, and try to look elsewhere for the money that you need if you can. We're talking about how early withdrawal habits can permanently damage your retirement savings. You need to realize that this goes beyond just avoiding loans and withdrawals. It's about creating a complete strategy that helps accounts do as well as they possibly can. And after helping hundreds of clients with their retirement savings, I've discovered that the biggest factor in long-term success isn't just saving more, it's having a proper strategy that prevents costly mistakes. And that's planning that goes beyond what I can explain in a generalized YouTube video. And even though videos like this one are great for understanding retirement threats, what's most important is having a clear plan that's specific to you in your accounts. And that's exactly why we offer to speak with you at no cost and discuss what it might look like to optimize your plan for your eventual retirement. I'll put a link in the description if you want to schedule a call. We'd be happy to meet you. Now let's get back to the video. People who find themselves borrowing from or taking from their retirement accounts before they retire need to watch out for the habits that they might be creating. Don't give yourself a hard time if it's related to health or if it's just something completely out of left field, but ask yourself if it's connected to consumer behaviors. We don't want to be making a $150,000 living, but $180,000 is what we spend every year. Is it a pattern or is it a one-time thing? Because we do want to be building the types of behaviors that are good for our future and not damaging our retirement security. We don't want to be the person in retirement who's depleting our retirement savings way too quickly. Because you're going to be withdrawing from these accounts when your livelihood depends on it, and we don't have pensions these days. And at that time, you're going to want to have a proper withdrawal plan, and just try to remember that all of those withdrawals that you're making during the working years, they don't just cost you today's money, they cost you decades of compounding growth. If you can master this, you can stay on track with your future retirement expenses. Proper withdrawal planning helps you avoid the need for emergency withdrawals that can derail your retirement success. The happiest retirees have got this figured out. There may be some bumps along the way, but we make smart choices. It's not a perfect road, and that's why provisions exist to withdraw from your accounts early if necessary. And I'll tell you, some people get themselves in a situation that they don't want to be in, habits that they don't want, but course corrections can be made and they make it work. I'm going to tell you about Jerry and Margaret. Now, I'm going to be confidential, so I'll change their names. He was 50 at the time, and they had a super busy lifestyle because they had 5 children. It was expensive. They had big dreams, lots of college costs. He owns a mid-sized business and his income can ebb and flow. And when we met these guys, not only were they taking out loans in their 401k, but sometimes they were using home equity lines of credit to tide them over as they were waiting on certain business to come through. They weren't keeping an adequate emergency savings available because they said they didn't want to have that money not earning for them. And that pointed them towards their retirement accounts every time they had an emergency. And small business owners need to keep much larger amounts of cash around. Their adventurous behavior got them to where they were in life and they were successful. They had very good cash flow, but those habits were not going to be serving them well when they someday retire. They also had a hard time being consistent with their retirement saving. Some years they contribute a bunch, and the next year they wouldn't put anything in at all. The first thing that we did was recommend that Jerry and Margaret read the book called Profit First. And what that book taught them was to pay themselves something first, pull all the profit out first, define it by a percentage. Let's just say it was 5% of gross revenues, but it was a new behavior and it was easy. Now, it took some work to figure out exactly what they should be pulling out, but it was a safe percentage for them and it allowed them to fill up their emergency savings first and then go on and fund their retirement accounts. Now, I'm not going to get into the methodology of the book in this video, but it's a different way to do bookkeeping that I've used for years personally, and it served me very well. The other thing we did was we showed Jerry and Margaret what their future withdrawal plan looked like when they stopped working. And it was based on how much they were putting into their retirement accounts. And they could see a steady monthly income that was going to be generated when they retired that they were going to be able to spend. They know that if they borrow from their accounts, that the amount that they spend each month when they retire was going to be less. And seeing that helped their behavior big time. They can also see what a healthy, sustainable withdrawal strategy looks like. I talk about it all the time. We use a risk-based guardrails withdrawal strategy, and that's something that you should use when you are supposed to be taking money out of your retirement accounts. They gained a new sense of encouragement when they saw that they had a method to be more disciplined and purposeful with the money that they withdraw each month. The guardrails are set above and below the retirement savings, and they know if things go well, that their value is going to rise. They could hit that upper guardrail, indicating that they could spend more. And if while they go through retirement, they either become undisciplined and take too much out, or if they have an unusually large drawdown periods in the market that threaten their goals, they'll be notified so they can reduce their spending based on a pre-planned amount. You see, we clarified what they wanted to have in the future. And I really believe this to be true. Fixing bad behavior or protecting yourself from bad behavior, a lot of it can be corrected simply by seeing the goal more clearly. We just need to see what the cause and effect of our actions are. And I don't know of any better way to do that. Now, before we wrap up, through the years of analyzing retirement accounts, I've noticed that clients who maintain their wealth aren't just the ones with the biggest balances. They're the ones who understand and actively protect against these subtle drains on their retirement funds. Most concerning is how these factors can impact your retirement security long before you notice any of the warning signs. If you want us to analyze your retirement plan and show you how to better protect your savings from these threats, click the first link in the description and book a complimentary call. I'll see you in the next one.